Alright, didn't want to be late, but I'm just adjusting. We've got another rickety setup here. My camera is mounted on a pram. Baby carriage? You know, one of those things. Let's see if I can adjust this. So thank you for your patience. Oh, Lord. Okay, just gotta get some water. And then we should be ready to roll. That. Even bother with a second light? Let's see. Okay. Look up there. That works. Most boring stream yet, but at least it started on time. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do that periodically. Hopefully it doesn't ruin everything. Let's get this out from under here. Oh, that's good. There we go. Doodaloo. Hey, Symbio Joe, how's it going, buddy? David Hill's much nicer time for me. Yes, you can actually like not be up. 21:30 on a weekend is much better than 4 a.m. on a weekday. Yes, sorry, gents. Wednesday nights is when I usually get my hobby time. So I just was like, hey, I'm hobbying now anyway. Let's start streaming. I hope for the best. But yeah, I can try to do this on weekends as well, like we're doing today. Actually, I could be at the beach right now, but I refused a trip to the beach to hang out with you dudes and dudettes, hopefully. But that's okay, because I'm not about the beach. I'm not about that life. I'm as pasty as they come. So I don't mind having some time to make some models in lieu of roasting on a beach. It's not much of a beach. It's a lake beach. Oh, come on. Which is better because the sun wants to kill you. Yes, the sun does want to kill me, especially with how pasty I am. Come on, Light, you can do this. I believe in you. I don't want you in my space, though. Whatever. Hey, Hutch. Man, cool that you could all join today. Glad to see you virtually on the internet. I'm going to do a little more cannon sculpting, hopefully, if everything works out. I've charged my phone, so I'm not doing that rookie mistake anymore, where I have like half a battery and it dies on me. So that will be helpful, hopefully. I haven't mixed up my putty, so I got to do that. So we got our green stuff. We got our... What am I going to do this with? So I'm going to be doing armor plates. Armor plates, probably. Probably clean up the ends of the barrels. You didn't get to see this in the last stream, but after my phone died, I took whatever green stuff I had left and started kind of ribbing in the ends, the insides of the barrels. They're a little rough, but they're pretty good. I might be able to clean them up a bit with a knife tool, but I am going to finish that out, and I'm also going to like clean up the rest of it to make it look more organic and less geometric. And then I'm going to encase these gills in a structure kind of like what we did the other day here. Same there. But maybe I'll start with the top and work down. So put some armor plates here, and then here, and then here, and then hopefully this. I'm going to try and sculpt. There's two ways to sculpt Tyranid armor plates. You can sculpt them all at once, or you can sculpt them one at a time. If you're just getting started sculpting, I would recommend sculpting one armor plate at a time. Start at the front, sculpt that armor plate, and then let it dry, and then sculpt the next one on top of it, next one on top of it, so on and so forth down the barrel, working from the barrel mouth to the base of the barrel with them overlapping, so lowest, higher, 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 coming back here. However, once you've done that enough, you can do it all in one go, so that's what we'll try and do today. Even though I wouldn't recommend it for new sculptors because it can be daunting and it can result in you doing a bad job, like I did on something recently. Okay. Get this out of here. Sculpting tools. So as we're doing Tyranid armor plates, we're going to need us a knife tool for cutting those plates. We're going to need a spoon tool, of course, never leave home without it, for smoothing those plates. When I decide that the spoon tool is not smooth enough, we're going to need at least this silicone shaper, because these are my go-tos. And we should probably get a flat silicone shaper as well to flatten out the armor plates. So we got a big fatty, which is slightly more firm, and then we got a skinny little one. And need a tool for digging out green stuff. It's probably good for now. So yeah, for this, I'm gonna do. I think I skipped on armor plates so far. So I have another video about sculpting armor plates if you want to know how to sculpt armor plates specifically. But you're gonna see it in this one too. I'm doing armor plates. They're not as organic, so maybe I won't do epoxy sculpt. Maybe I'll be fancy and do epoxy clay with my green stuff. Haven't done much of that yet, but let's mess around with it for this. Close container. There we go. Okay. Here, let's get that out of the way. When you're mixing up, get these guys out of the way because I don't need them right now. So about those barrels, hey, were you Noel talking about it on Twitter? If you've joined us, that's awesome, Noel. There's someone named Noel asking about barrel ends on Twitter, so we might get to that later. This is what they're at in their current state. A little bit ribbed in there. But yeah, I am going to clean these up and cover them up so it's not plastic hard with some green stuff. But I'm going to start off by sculpting some armor plates, which might be my famous last words because armor plates are something that it's really easy to obsess over. So what I'm doing first is I'm wetting my tool with water so that the green stuff and the epoxy sculpt doesn't stick to it as much as I pull it out of the container. I usually start with the blue because it's less sticky than the yellow. Yo, 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 people, interested G2. Hello, interested G2. It's my first time seeing you on the stream. Noel, good to see you. I'm glad you're that guy. Anybody watch The Expanse? I am that guy. Don't mess with Noel. If Noel is that guy, you don't want to mess. Let's see if I can rotate this a bit. Again, not the most ideal setup because this thing is literally gorilla potted to a pram, a stroller. That's the name here. Just very weirdly. Okay. Yeah. Oh, and someone was asking about this, but I think it was someone who was watching the video after the fact. They were asking about when we record this live, I can see all your chat and you can all see each other's chat. But when it gets loaded onto YouTube, you can't always see the chat. So one thing with green stuff, you always want more yellow than blue. That's kind of a lot of yellow, though. Maybe I'll lose some of that. Wet your hands when you're dealing with green stuff, which I haven't done yet. Wet your hands so it doesn't stick to you. Stick that one back. That's probably a good mix. More green than blue. I could even take a little more green off there, but I tend to underrepresent the yellow. Sorry, more green than blue. More yellow than blue. I think that's a good mix. Mix that up. Get this out of here. Let's combine those. So yeah, keep your hands wet so the green stuff doesn't stick to you. Yes, so the chat thing, the live chat that comes up when you're on the stream, I just discovered the other day, I don't know if this is consistent, but in our most recent video, I was looking at it on the mobile version, the Android mobile version of the YouTube app, and underneath the video, if you're looking at it in portrait mode, it's got like the thumbs up thing, thumbs down, and then it's got some other buttons, and one of those buttons was live chat, and if you toggled that, you could see the full chat from the stream. So if people are wondering why the heck I'm talking to myself and you're not seeing anything on the screen that relates to that, it's because I'm responding to people as they chat, comment in. And apparently you can see that on the mobile app. I don't know if you can see it on the desktop version of YouTube. These things don't always do the same thing in the same places. Once I get off the phone streaming and try it with OBS, maybe it's going to be fancier because it's going to be identified to YouTube as a stream, but we'll see. There's the green stuff mixed. Next, I'm going to mix up about the same. I'm going to have a lot of green stuff. I should probably put this in the freezer. I'm going to mix up the same amount of epoxy clay. Oh, I just filled this up before I went away. That's why it looks so weird and full. Again, epoxy clay is like epoxy sculpt, but it's harder. So, I don't know. Armor plates, hard edges. Maybe this will be better. We'll see. Mixing epoxy with green stuff just gets you more putty to work with without having to spend as much on green stuff. Also, it does some really nice things for the texture, especially with epoxy sculpt. When you're mixing it with green stuff, it makes the green stuff a lot softer. Again, this is stuff that you guys have heard before if you've been on the stream, but I realized I should probably talk through these steps in case anyone's watching this video on its own. So yeah, I'm just keeping my tool wet as I'm scooping out the putty parts. And getting about the same amount of part A, part B of the epoxy clay. That looks about right. I think this epoxy clay has been tinted. I think it's normally more of like a terracotta color, although the stuff I have is white. You can get it in different colors. Doesn't usually matter, although I have bought pink epoxy sculpt because, you know, Mr. Pink, and it has given me trouble before, but I feel like I should try that again because, look at that, rare earth magnets, hot. Calamity, my idol, sculpting idol, uses epoxy sculpt and uses pink tinted epoxy sculpt, and it seems kind of, or like terracotta tinted epoxy sculpt, and I don't know, it's kind of nice because the standard color of epoxy sculpt comes out very white, and sometimes it's hard to see that in photography. So maybe I should get back and try tinted epoxy sculpt again and see if it does me. Of course, I've got like 4 pounds. I've got a lot of epoxy sculpt sitting in containers, so maybe now is not the time to experiment with tinted. So I'm just mixing this together like you would green stuff. I keep wetting my hands. When you're using epoxy products, like the Aves epoxy, it does give off this kind of silt stuff. So yeah, just keep rinsing that off. It's normal. Once you mix it up and leave it for 10 or so minutes, that will go away. You won't have that white residue anymore. So it's not anything to worry about, but definitely not something you'd want to eat, because I don't think it's probably great for you. So just have water off to the side and keep rinsing your fingers with water. Getting that off there. I also have a grubby towel that I keep around purely for drying silty grossness off of hands. How are you guys getting in terms of quality on the stream? Because it looks a little jumpy to me. As there's no one here right now, I decided to change positions from the other day. The other day I was literally sitting staring at the router, but I was crammed up in a hallway, and now I'm on the dining room table. So I'm not as close to the router. I might not be getting as good signal here. And I just wanted to see if you can see that on your end, or if it's like watchable. Just the same here. What's happened so far? Spider panic in my house. It looks good. Good lighting. Hutch, is it jittery at all? The stream for you? Correct, that could be. Nothing's happened, David. I'm just mixing up putty and getting ready to get going. You haven't missed anything. It's a bit choppy. Oh, sorry to hear that, Hutch. Hopefully the audio is not as choppy, but the video looks choppy on my end too. It looks like I've got full strength Wi-Fi, but I'm not working at home. I'm away right now, so I'm dealing with whatever Wi-Fi someone's elderly parents decide is enough. It is watchable. Seems like a jump from 720 to audio is good. Okay, good. That's fine, as long as you can hear me and more or less see what's going on. Ooh, this feels good. Some green stuff, some epoxy. God, I love this material. So it's stretchy, like green stuff. It tears a little bit more. That's the epoxy coming in. But it's so smooth and so soft. Now, I'm not going to use all of this to sculpt armor plates, so I should probably pop some of it in the freezer. Actually, this feels a little too soft for what I want to do. But maybe that'll be forgiving, because I am trying to sculpt a lot of plates at once. So I'm going to be futzing around with them initially before I cut them. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to tell if that's too soft or not. What you could do if it's too soft right now, let it set for like 20 minutes. So that it hardens up a bit, but honestly, I'm not that patient. I want to get going because I've got an audience. Now, armor plates. I got this kind of like dart shape. Oh, you can't see that. Maybe I do tilt this up. I wasn't sure exactly where I was going to be working. Hope no one gets motion sick. Okay. So I got this kind of like dart structure that I made here. So I picture that as like an armor plate coming out, but realistically the armor plates should continue back to here. But I was trying to think if there should be like a break where like the barrel plates are here and then there's like, this is like clearly a delineation into back armor plates, kind of continue on the Tyranid back plate shape. Oh yeah. Teaching myself, we're going to have a break between the armor plates because the armor plates on a Tyranid weapon point that way toward the barrel end, and the armor plates on the back of a Tyranid point down towards the tail. Like you can see that these ones, they're pointing down that way. So there's going to be one armor plate in here that points both ways. So sculpt these ones to here, sculpt these ones to here, and then have one big one on top. All right, that's what we'll do. I'll get my handy dandy container for my green stuff because I always mix too much, and then what I do is I take it, I put it in the freezer so that I can use it later. I don't know if I'm actually going to do a lot more sculpting this weekend, but even if I sculpt later today, it'll be great. Let's see. Actually, this is a good test. The freezer we have here is really intense. Charles, hey buddy. Unfortunately, I'm not working on your thing right now. So guys, Charles just joined the chat. Charles is the client who I'm sculpting the dominatrix for. So I'm doing a little bit of something different this time, Charles. So sorry about that. But you can see I'm sculpting on the Gunbeast and get right back to the Dom very soon. So this is putty that I mixed up on Wednesday night. It's now Saturday. We've got a really good freezer here. It's very, very cold. And you can see that this putty is still viable. This has been in the freezer since Wednesday night. And I could use this right now. It's not as sticky as it used to be. And it'll probably start to cure pretty quickly. But it's technically viable. You can see it's kind of doing that thing where it's not mixing together as easily. It's kind of retaining cracks. But no rush. I love that cannon. Okay, yeah. Well, doing this cannon, Charles, is going to make me better at doing your cannon. So that's cool. So this is just showing you what you can do with green stuff in the freezer. You can store it for up to, what is it, 3 nights? Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday now. Yeah, so it's still more or less viable. Anyway, but I'm not going to use this now because I don't want it to die on me, especially when I'm sculpting a bunch of plates back to back. But I'm going to waste it. Whatever. Goodbye. Not going to use all this right now, so what I'll do, let's get an eyeball of how much we want. Just kind of guess at it. Oh yeah, this is very soft. I thought it would be harder because I was using the clay, but it feels very, very soft. So again, I mentioned the other day that I've got this kind of notch in the barrel. Got to remember the things over here. That's where the plate's going to come down to, that notch. You can see it more on this side. Kind of notch there. So I'm going to extend the putty down to there. Again, this stuff is easier to do with plasticard than to do it purely with putty, so plasticard is your friend. To do like kind of understructure and rough shapes while you're planning them. Oh, it's moving around a lot. That's great. My putty was too wet when I applied it. Okay, what feels natural? This feels natural. So once again, let's go on a merry little adventure. There we go. Last time, I promise. What a lie. Oh, that's not good. Too wet. Damn it. Happens to the best of us. So dry that off. It's not oil or anything. It's just that I got too eager with the water. Yeah, it's swimming. Let's just do this. Flip it and hope for the best. Why aren't you sticking? You're the worst. So you can get it too wet. There's your answer. Let's get this sticky again. I think I need a little more. It looks like I need, oh, go away. A little more putty. Put the rest in the freezer. I just break it up so that it freezes well in like smaller pieces. Never heard that as a complaint before. What, not sticky enough? Yeah, it doesn't happen that often. Yeah, okay. So just break it up like that so it freezes easily. Hey yo, Hutch. Are people's messages coming out of order? You already said hi, buddy. What I could do if I wanted to be fancy, or I wanted to be probably stupid actually, I could take this and I could mix it in with that, but it'll extend the life of this a bit, but it'll probably negatively impact that as well. So I'm just gonna throw this out. Back in the freezer with the excess. Oh, it's so cloudy out. Perfect for the beach. But I'm here. Oops, sorry about that. That was a bit squeaky. Okay. Are you dry now? God damn it. That's going to piss me off. Let's give her a go. Stick, damn you. Maybe I should use a tool and not my fingers. That's what I tell someone else to do. So I'm working at kind of like a large scale here, so I could use like a large silicone shaper. Probably regret it later. Nivea, I keep it on the back of my hand to lubricate my tools because it sticks around on the tools a lot longer than water does. But it's because it's water-based, Nivea cream, you don't have to wash the model after to get the oil from it off. Okay, you can see that? Can you see this? Yeah, you can see this. Okay, good. So yeah, I just wanted to explain that because some people, even in my videos where I was like trying to do a tutorial and not just do a live stream, people are like, what is the white stuff you keep putting on your tools? And it is Nivea. And as everyone knows, it puts the Nivea on its tools or it gets the hose. Okay. So silicone brushes are amazing because you can just paint green stuff around. It's super good. What? Oh, am I on? Oh, shit. Hopefully... have you guys been getting any weird audio stuff? My clamp for my phone was on the audio, the volume control. So hopefully that hasn't been weird, but it's fixed now. Thanks, Symbio Joe. You're the best. Okay, so just painting this across. All hail Nivea. Sounds good? Good. Glad to hear it. Just getting the rough shape for the full complement of armor plates that's going to be going on the top of the barrel to this break point that I pointed out, where it's going to be kind of like the break between the gun plates. And I'll watch it later. My internet isn't doing too hot. That's okay, Noel. Thanks for showing up. I'll try to get to the end of those barrels today and sculpt them up. It also might be my internet that's not doing so hot. It might not be your internet. As I explained, my internet situation here is not ideal, and I'm in no control over it. So I'm just kind of working with what I got. Yeah. Honestly, I just want to use my fingers. Currently getting built while I'm watching. Oh, yeah. So, David, you missed this the other night. This is a Tyranid. It was inspired by the fact that I went on eBay or something back in the day, take a shot, and I saw a really good deal on some Tyranid. I'm like, wow, that's really cheap. And it was like 2 Tyranid kits for way cheaper than they should be. And that is a hint, my friend. When you see that something is way cheaper than it should be, it's probably because it is not what you think it is. So I got a China Cast Turvagon kit. Whole kit's there. It's just cast in shitty resin. It wasn't the plastic one. And what I didn't notice on the description, it didn't say plastic or not plastic. It just said Tyranofex Turvagon. And I got a China Cast one. So because I got a China Cast one, I am trying a put people in space, but reliable internet can't exist. Well, it's not that reliable internet can't exist. It's that I'm staying in a place that's run by some old people, and they probably don't need internet as fast as I do. So they probably just have like Netflix and chill internet, and I need like hardcore streaming internet, which I have at home, but I don't have here. So yeah, I'm taking that ChinaCast Tyranofex, and I'm making my own version of a Tyranofex because I've never loved... Like, the Tyranofex is a fine model, but when it comes to Tyranid Gunbeasts, I feel very strongly about them, and I feel very strongly about the fact that Tyranids shouldn't be carrying their guns around like humans. They're genetically engineered murder machines. You think that they could evolve to like have a gun built into their back or something like that. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm building a rupture cannon into the back of this beast, and that is what you're watching right now. So on the stream the other night, I worked on the gills here and the vascular structures. So now I'm putting in the carapace plates on top. Honestly, when you're working this big, you can sometimes just use your fingers to get the ridges in all the right places. Okay, but it's just lining up the sides that I'm worried about. So this is just like the rough shape for the armor plate. So think of this as one big Tyranid armor plate on top that I'm then going to go and section up. The end is, I'm not loving the shape at this end, but I could probably fix that later. Putty is not the best thing to get sharp angles from. You can do it, but better to get a soft angle and then cut it to a hard angle later with an X-Acto rather than trying to sculpt a hard angle because it's going to sag. Love China Cast, some good, some bad. Yeah. Painting house, what I'm building. Sorry, I couldn't join the other night to tell you what tool to use. Okay. Oh yeah, David, it was you who was telling me what tool to use. Hey, Evan Warped, good to see you. I'm back at it with the Tyranofex that we were working on the other night. This time I'm adding some armor plates to the top of its gun. So yeah, you want to sculpt one big Tyranid armor plate on top, and then you can go in and section it up into the individual sections. If you're going to be a pro, you should go to a Tyranid and you should pull out their gun and you should count how many armor plates are normally on top of a Tyranid gun. I don't actually do that. I just kind of do what looks good and hope for the best. Mark has started to use Nivea on Milliput. Hopefully your life is better for it, Mark. Although with Milliput, it does weird sediment issues as well, so who knows how that's going to work out. Thanks, Evan. It's very kind of you to say. Let's hope I don't screw it up. Okay. So just trying to define that last plate here. It'll probably wind up being covered by another one, but who knows? Shouldn't stress about it at this point. I can fix that later. Okay, so we got kind of like a wobbly thing happening on the edge, so I need to fix that. This side looks more or less straight along the edge. I have a lot of putty at the front and not a lot of putty at the back, so I'll just try and move it back so that I have more back here to fix issues and less at the front to kind of weigh it down. I can't stand Milliput sediment. Is that Mark? Yeah, that's why primarily why I don't use Milliput. I mean, Abe's epoxy sculpt has sediment, but I can deal with it, but the Milliput sediment just drives me up the wall. It just seems unnecessarily messy. Okay, again, I keep wanting to pull this off the screen. Will that work? Of course not. Why would it? Okay. I shouldn't obsess at this point because when I go in and I start cutting the plates, I'm going to have to clean this edge up anyway. Yeah, isopropyl alcohol for cleaning Milliput. I don't want to bother with that. I just want to use soap and water. Too much trouble. So I'm also trying to like define the ridge in the middle of the armor plates, because that is harder to add in later. Better to get it in there now and then just cut the plates around it. I can always increase it later by adding putty, but as much as possible, I want to get as much done in now as I can, so I don't have to like fuss with it later. Oh, main ingredient in hand sanitizer. Yeah, that's a good point. That makes it a little easier. I figure we've all got some hand sanitizer kicking around right now. God, did I screw up when I cut this thing? Oh, well. Don't you love it when your sculpting reveals how you've screwed up previously? Yeah, that looks rough. The barrel tip? I'll have to fix that later. Probably with a knife. Feeling the urge to get knifey. Damn it. Let's focus. Stay on target. Maybe I should move this putty back like I did the other side. Brush that back here so I have more material to work with at this end. Oh, it's so soft. That would be awesome if I was doing organics, but I'm not. Maybe I should have done some of that mixed yellow milliput with green stuff, but I don't think I even have yellow milliput with me because I don't like using it so much. When you do something just right, then you move to another area, bump weight. Yeah, Evan, what you're describing is something that everyone does and continues to do, and I still do. I was worried about doing that on Thursday night, where you sculpt something, it's perfect, and it's totally perfect, and you should leave it alone, but then you, or maybe you get it right, and then you're like, I'm going to keep sculpting on this model, I'm so excited. And then you go and shove your finger in what you've done before, and you got to fix it. I actually did that when I was sculpting these gills the night before, and I had to redo, can't remember which side. I think I shoved my finger in this side and I had to fix it up because I didn't know when to leave well enough alone. If you're very happy with your sculpting, you should probably just leave it. I think I was talking about that when we were sculpting that arm or that leg, that I kept telling myself to just stop. Because the longer you sculpt, the more chance you have to screw it up. And you can always fix things later, like by adding putty, by cutting parts away, so not worth ruining your work to make it better when you can just wait till it's dry, and then you don't have the chance of putting your big sloppy fingerprints in the putty, and then fix it when it's dry. Okay, this is pretty good. Maybe I'm just killing time so this solidifies up, so it's better for sculpting armor plates. Why is it red there? That's a little weird. I don't know where that's coming from. Oh, this really bothers me. The end of the armor plates here. It's really ugly. The angle is not the same on both sides, and it's driving me nuts. That looks like a bubble. Rare, but it happens. Okay. The other thing I hate about sculpting armor plates is that they're never symmetrical. Oh well. Or anybody that wants to chime in, what do you use when you do teeth? What? I'm amazed no one came up with a unique for use fingerprints on green stuff to your advantage. I guess if you're looking for like a random biological texture symbiote, Joe, you could just like overlap fingerprints and hope for the best. Evan, when I do teeth, I literally steal teeth out of another kit. I can't be asked to sculpt teeth. Actually, we have a video on sculpting teeth that Hydra did. It's on my YouTube channel here, but that's not like teeth that are like sticking out. It's like teeth that are like in a mouth. Like picture a shark with its mouth closed, and you can see like the individual teeth, but they're all together. That's what Hydra showed in his video. If I have to sculpt individual exposed teeth, I typically will go to a kit that has teeth and I'll steal it because I don't want to have to deal with that because the teeth are small and keeping them sharp is tough. I think what Hydra has done is he's used like toothpicks, sharpened toothpicks to do his teeth when he has to do individual ones. You can also do, if you want to be really hardcore and you want to sculpt them, I would say take a thin piece of wire and then do green stuff around the thin piece of wire. But I wouldn't try and sculpt the tooth all at once. I would like take the thin piece of wire, add some green stuff and get like a rough tooth shape on it. And don't get it too sharp. Warren JB, is that you, Warren? Is that Vermis? For fangs, roll little cones out of putty, bend them very slightly, let them cure, and cut them to size. Thanks, buddy. I was about to go to that. You make the wire, you put the cone on it, and then you cut it down instead of trying to sculpt it to be sharp, because it won't be sharp. It'll be bulgy. Listen to Warren. If that's who I think it is, he's the dude I was talking about on the other stream the other night, and he's a really good sculptor. Vermis on Instagram, if that's him. Mind you, I did like the use of those zombie dragon teeth. Warren, is that you? Is that like real Warren? Or is that a different Warren? Am I getting confused? Oh, Warren. Fantastic. Charles, meet Warren. Warren's the one who drew the dominatrix that I'm basing your dominatrix on. Warren, meet Charles. Charles is the one who commissioned that dominatrix. Warren is an awesome concept artist who has done a lot of really cool concepts for the Warp Shadow community back in the day. He's recently joined Instagram, and you should all follow him. I was plugging him on the last stream. Vermis, VYRMS, MIS, and then 123 on Instagram. And he's already got some cool stuff up there, and I'm sure we could expect much more from him. Right, Warren? No pressure, bud. Yeah, Evan, if you roll your teeth and you get fingerprints on them, cut them down with a X-Acto knife after to get them into shape, and that should take care of your fingerprint problem. Okay. Really? This is just going to be a stream of me adjusting this damn camera until it's in my lap. I should just point it in my lap, because that's where I want to sculpt. I'm considering the Carnifex in the moment. So you're considering drawing a Carnifex, Warren, or you're considering sculpting and kit bashing Carnifex? Because I would like to see either of those two things. I'd like to see both of those two things. Oh God, obsession. Thanks for joining, Warren. Glad you could make it. If anyone is up on the Modern Synthesis blog, keep up to date on that. I posted an article a couple of months back about the when we took the plastic gene sealers when they first came out, and we tried to make like Eldar gene sealers and Orc gene sealers. If that kind of thing interests you, you should definitely go to modernsynthesis.com and look up that blog post. But in that blog post, there were sketches that like what a Kroot stealer would look like, that kind of thing. And there was also one sculpt of a Orc stealer, and those were all done by Warren. So he is the artist behind that. He's the artist behind... I've got it right here. What do you know? I always keep it at arm's reach. He's the artist behind this amazing concept for a dominatrix, based on the old Epic dominatrix, but updated to the new Tyranid aesthetic. So this one's pretty old, and he said himself that he could do much better, so I look forward to seeing that. Okay, stop fucking around. Just cut some plates and deal with it. Deal with the consequences. Okay, the benefit of sculpting one armor plate at a time is that you can obsess over it. The downside of this is that you have to just commit and just get it done, which is a faster way to sculpt models, let's be honest. I'm not loving this. But yeah, if you're looking for that blog post about gene sealers and hybrid gene sealers from all the different races, I think I called it Geno Project because that was the name of the project that we were doing back then when a bunch of us were collaborating on it right after the plastic stealer kit came out. So you can just look for the Geno Project article on the blog. And there's some cool stuff there. And it was all inspired by the fact that I made a Orc gene sealer and an Eldar gene sealer a long time ago when I wasn't as good at sculpting as I am now, and I kind of forgot that I made them, and I kind of someone mentioned something and it jogged my memory and I rediscovered the pictures. And it was kind of through that I reconnected with High Fleet Malak, which was cool because he saw them on my blog and he was like, hey, I still have those models that you sent to me to take pictures of all those years ago. You want them back? And I'm like, oh my God, sure, but I'm more glad that you're around. So kind of the same deal with Warren, where he commented on my blog and I was like, oh my God, Warren, you're still alive. Well, I knew you were alive, but I hadn't seen you in a while. So I was really happy to see you on there. So I guess that's what I should tell myself when I worry that what's the real point of having a blog anymore with all this YouTube, social media stuff. It's still a good place for the Tyranid community to come back together, which makes me happy. Makes me very happy. So I'm just kind of like doing a concave down each side of the... Yeah, concave, yes, not convex. I didn't screw it up this time. Concave shape down each plate. So to kind of like emphasize that peak in the middle. And again, I'm just killing time because as soon as I start cutting the shapes of the individual plates, that's when I screw things up. So I can pretend that, you know, I have to do this first, yes. When really I'm just delaying the inevitable. And obsessing over the shape of this thing for no good reason. Did I miss anything? Do love Carnifexes. It was a long time ago, and others like our house here have done much more for an Airbrushing community. BS Warren, you've done a lot. Time for another red bush tea. Go interested Gee. I like this sculpt right here. Are you in contact with Navarro, Mr. Bugman? So yeah, Symbio Joe, Navarro was another person who contributed to the Geno project, and shortly after I posted that article, someone reached out to me. I can't remember who, but they said that like Navarro is still active on Facebook. I can't stand Facebook, but I think I might have like sent him a message or something, or I may have like asked that person to like get him to get in touch with me, but no, I'm not in contact with Navarro. But Navarro had a really awesome website back in the day called Buglands. And it was Tyranid inspired, but also like very insect inspired, and kind of like taking inspiration from insects for Tyranids, which seems very natural. Is he on Instagram? I think I might have followed him on Instagram. Symbio Joe, what's his Instagram? Navarro's, because I don't know if I have that. So hook me up. He does mushrooms. Oh, he has his own little minis company doing mushrooms. Okay, well, I might be following that. The mushrooms sound familiar. But yeah, when we were doing the Geno project, he kind of like, we were like, let's do an Eldar stealer. Let's do an Orc stealer. Let's do a Tau, maybe a Tau stealer, a Kroot stealer. And he's like, just went off on it. He's like, let's do a Spider stealer. And let's do like a Shark stealer. And let's do like a this stealer and that stealer. And kind of just like, he had his own fuel. And he just kind of went off. So like the project started off together, but I think Navarro started his own project out of it. He called it the Biodiversity Project on Buglands. But yeah, he just went off. Like he did a couple of like Orky or like Eldari Steelers or something, but he just kind of let rip. So I feel like he left us in the dust in a way, or he was just like, yeah, this group project's cool, but I'm just going to do my own. Which is good because we got a lot more biodiversity out of that approach that he took. Yeah, but I think he had a different aesthetic from ours. So it was good that he pursued it on his own and didn't get held back by us. One thing that I will always praise Navarro for is that I think it was as a base for a Tyranid creature that he made something, I think he called it the Sentinide, and it was basically a Tyranid organism that deployed from orbit and then hit down and then like opened up into this worm kind of thing. And it was very much my inspiration for my own mycetic spores that I came up with. The idea that this pod would come in and it would crash in, and then it would crash in like this, and then it would open up like that. So he really inspired me with that, and I really appreciate it because I was very happy with the concept that I came up with for mycetic spores, and it would not have happened if it wasn't for Navarro's initial idea on it. You know what? God, I hate doing this. Let's cut some away here because this looks like it's too low. I'm going to regret this. Mark my words. Maybe this will make it better. Warren, I want you to post more stuff on Instagram, man. Sketches, sculpting, old miniatures. I don't care. I just want to see it. You got good stuff. Well, I don't know if you have your old pictures anymore. But if you want to post any of your old art and you don't have the files anymore, I am obsessive, and I do. So you just let me know if you need them, or if you want to go to Modern Synthesis and look yourself up, Google yourself, you know. Feel free, because it would be cool to see more of that stuff live on your profile. Yeah, true. Navarro had enough energy for all of us. Sorry, I'm kind of like sporadically keeping up with comments. Should probably go do another dive through the comments. Okay, so I'm happier with that. The space between the gills, this structure, and then the Chinton, carapace, whatever. And it's, they're not going to be symmetrical. I'm not promising symmetry. I'm just promising getting it done. Should clean up this side. I think this side is okay. What's going on here? Shoots, Nids, Last I saw Navarro. Yeah, he does mushrooms. Navarro Bugman. I think I'm following him. I don't know. I have to search for his shop. So there. Yes, Navarro had enough energy for all of us. For sculpting my own Mark Space Marine armor, would epoxy sculpt be the best option? Interested G, if you want to sculpt your own Space Marine armor, honestly, I wanted to do a video about this where I just went to Games Workshop and bought some Space Marines. Because sculpting inorganic material, you can do it. There's someone who does a really good version of it on Instagram, and I can't remember his name right now, but he does a lot of Terminators, and he does them out of green stuff. And I'm really impressed by that, because I like sculpting organic stuff. Sculpting inorganic stuff is a lot harder. In fact, if you want to sculpt inorganic armor, probably the guys at Between the Bolter and me would tell you to use Milliput Yellow Gray, the standard Milliput that comes in the white box with the red writing, because it is a lot. They say it's a lot better at getting hard edges than something like Epoxy Sculpt. Epoxy Sculpt is like, okay, Epoxy Sculpt is amazing because Calamity uses Epoxy Sculpt to sculpt armor and mecha. So you can definitely do it. It's just that the good thing about Epoxy Sculpt is you can machine it after. You can like chisel it, you can sand it, you can like scrape it. So that would help with armor, but I honestly wouldn't. I don't know if you could pay me to sculpt Space Marine armor. I would rather buy Space Marine armor that's close to it and then modify it with putty to make it the kind of armor that I'm looking for, because it's just so much work to get. The problem with sculpting inorganic material is that you need it to be symmetrical. When you're sculpting organic stuff, you can get away with it not being symmetrical. Like, look at this side of the barrel. Totally different from this side of the barrel. Why? Because it's an organic, it's like a creature. It's an organism. Even like this and this, they're pretty close, but they're not going to be perfectly the same. And when you're working on something like Space Marine Power Armor, it needs to be the same. More or less. I would just be so stressed out sculpting Power Armor. What size wire do I use for pins, David? I use this size wire for pins. Well, this is like, no, that's like for a stand, so I can like put this in a base and hold it. I don't think it matters what size wire I use for pins. I vary it based on the size of the limb or the size of the thing I'm pinning and the weight of the thing I'm pinning. The key thing that I've learned about pins is that for the longest time I would just use paper clips, or I just use pieces of like wire that was on a spool. The problem with those is that they're pretty bendable, and I would recommend going, as long as you're using brass pins that are not as bendable, like you can bend them a bit if you need to, but they're pretty rigid. They're better for supporting things than using paper clips. Like you can use paper clips if you're just doing like a little piece of pinning a piece of plastic to another piece of plastic, but if you start pinning larger things, I would go for get some brass ones. You can get them from like hobby stores, and you can get them in different sizes. Stuff before preserved. Yeah, Warren, I have your stuff on my blog. I think I have some of your art and your sketches and stuff. So I've already got it there. But if you're saying you have more stuff that I could host on the blog, I would love to do a follow-up to the article I did before. But yeah, take a look at the old one I did. See what's there. If you want to steal anything from that to post to Instagram, please do. if you have more stuff that is not there that you would like hosted, I would love to do a follow-up article. The Art of Warren Beatty, Part 2, Warren Returns. So I'm just using the flat side of this knife tool to kind of flatten the carapace plates. I've got a very straight edge on this side, and it's not as straight on this side, but really I should stop obsessing and just cut the damn plates and go from there, because once I start cutting the plates, I'm gonna adjust it anyway. So let's do that. All right, so they're gonna be pointing this way, the plates. This last one needs to be cut because it's not pointy enough. So the next one is gonna go here. And you wanna kind of match the angle that you're gonna have here. This is what drives me nuts. I can cut all of these up here, and then I'll go over here and I'll do them, and the angles will be slightly different. And I hate it, but whatever. In fact, maybe what I should do is I usually do this, and then I do this, and then I go to the next one. Maybe I should do one side all the way up, and then I should do the other side, because that'll give me a better reference point. And then I can use the tool on one side, and then use the tool on the other side, not have to switch back and forth. So I'm not doing a great job, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep the angle of each plate the same, while also making subsequent plates larger than the previous plates. Oh God, I'm not doing a very good job. These are all the same size. I would say this might be too many armor plates for a weapon, but whatever. Thought I just heard a small child. I'm really hoping the small child is not home yet, because that would be the end of the stream. Not my small child, someone else's. Yeah, okay, I kind of screwed up, because this angle is like more angled. What's the word I'm looking for? Can someone help me with an angle word? Whereas these ones are more flat, which is not good. Obtuse? No, that's not the word I'm looking for. God, I shouldn't be trying to adjust these after the fact. I should just accept them. Looks bulgy and crap from the side, but whatever. I'll fix that later. Yeah, they all should have been on this angle, but they're more flat here. Oh, well, whatever. Okay, now we'll do this side. You guys keep talking on your own. If you're doing something personal army that isn't going into a vulcanized mold, spare yourself the work and start from a plastic model. There you go. Warren, I have no problem with you getting a swelled head. More plates, better protection. I agree, Charles. Acute, thank you. Yes, acute angle. That was ugly. Let's pretend you didn't see that. Maybe I can make them more acute on this side and then fix the other side. Not a good plan, but let's live dangerously. So did anyone tune in? Oh yes, and please talk amongst yourselves. Warren, if you want to answer people's questions about milliput, please do that, because I have no experience with it, and you've done a lot of sculpting with it. The worst thing about milliput, super fine white, with green stuff, is the color puts me in mind of sculpting with thick toothpaste. My problem with super fine white milliput is I can't see what's happening because it's too white. Change in angle, okay. Gives it a bit of look, they can move a bit. Okay, well, glad you guys are liking it, because I think the other problem I have is that, like, when you go in here and you sculpt these plates like this, with the tool like this, and you sculpt the plates with the tool like this, see the curve in that tool? That's really nice for Tyranid plates. And it kind of like transfers to the plate, and it kind of makes it more curved instead of making it flat. So that's what I should have done on the other side. Whoops, I'll have to go back and fix them now. Yeah, it gives it like a it's curving a bit to a point here. See what I'm doing there? And that will be helpful later. So I need to fix that on the other side. Joyous, joyous me. And then, like, this is the left-right thing, because if I could sculpt with my left hand, I could just, like, flip it around and go like that, but this feels awkward with the right hand, but that's really what I need to do. Oh, God, this is ugly. Okay, I'm going to do it rough, and then I think I can, like, push the putty around to fix it. So what's everyone working on? Let us know in the comments. Like, what are your projects that you're working on right now? Oh, actually, this is working because I'm kind of like tucking the previous plate in under the next plate. Especially you, Warren. What are you doing? You doing more elves? Because you got those nice elves on your Instagram. You said you liked Carnifexes. You didn't say what you meant by that, whether it was a drawing project or a model project. You know what? I've like rediscovered my love for Carnifexes. I made some warriors a little while back, and I converted them to make them look like smaller than standard Tyranid warriors, because they were supposed to be like new spawn in a game of Shadow War. And just painting them, I kind of like reminded myself that I can paint well. I don't like painting, so I tend to assume that I'm going to screw up the paint job, but the beauty of that is that you don't paint for a while, and then you come back and you like try it again, and you put in more care and more patience, and you're a much better painter than you were before. So I was so inspired by how well the paint job came out on those warriors that I was like, man, I just want to like assemble more stock Tyranids and just paint them. So I started working on a Carnifex that was more or less stock, just to be able to paint it, because I was really happy with how that scheme came out. And I haven't gotten back to it yet, full disclosure, but yeah, the Carnifex kit is good. Like, it's not great because it's an old kit, and it doesn't go together well, and it has gaps and stuff that you got to fill. I think that's what hung me up. That I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make this Carnifex, and I like put it together, and I'm like, yeah, it's so good. I did a slight conversion on it, but otherwise it's stock. And I'm like, why are there giant gaps everywhere? Oh man, I got a gap fill, and anyone who was on the other stream knows that I hate gap filling. So usually, I think I reflected on this. My thing with gap filling is that if I need to fill a gap, I'm just going to sculpt something over it. Like, I don't want to just like cram some epoxy sculpt into a tiny little gap. I'm like, let's just change the model. Because I got to put some putty there anyway, so why not just modify it? All right, so we're getting some like good shapes here with these plates. I'm getting happy. You can see clearly that this side is better than this side. This is the presentable side. Actually, maybe I can fix that before I go in. With my handy dandy spoon tool. Let's see if I can influence these curves. Okay, yep. And each time I do this, I'm like lifting up the plates a bit more, which is cool because then I can tuck the next plate down in underneath the higher plate. This one is going to need more putty down there. That's for sure. This one in general, I'm going to have to clean up later, but that looks good. That looks decent. Okay, so this side is going gangbusters. This side is a mess, but I'll fix it. What are people saying? Too white, true. Okay, gives it a look that they can move. On the top, maybe have horns surrounded off. Charles, are you talking about the horns on this gun? There's gonna be horns on your gun, but not on this one. Backload of bid painting. Oh, nid painting. Yeah, Charles, you're painting nids. I saw that. Thanks, Warren, for telling me I'm too hard on myself. Pinvice handle for export to Canada and some non-metal metallic gold. Ooh, David, I can't wait to see this pink pinvice thing. I'll use it to mount this guy. I'll put him right in here, and I'll be like, got him in my pinvice handle. Non-metal metallic gold. Good luck, David. I'm not crazy about non-metal metallics. I'm not patient enough because I don't like painting, like I just said. Hutch, I got my Nightmare Hulks from Gellerpox in so I can cut them up and make a Crypt Haunter for my Flesh Eater carrots. Those are some pretty cool models in Gellerpox. I don't like them stock, but I like converting them. Or I haven't converted them yet, but they're conversion fodder. Elves have stalled. Fishy bits off. Yeah, Warren, I don't envy you having to cut the fishy bits off of the sea elves and make them into high elves. You should just wait till the new high elves come out and modify them, but they're not nearly as fun. Oh, turn up 28. Like to hear it. Was that Eli? No. EIL? Not sure who that is. Man, I haven't done turn up 28. Crimson Badger, good to see you, man. Glad you could join the stream. Proteus land speeder for wolf boys. What is a Proteus land speeder? Is that just a normal land speeder, Mark? I don't know what that's about. Symbio Joe sat down today, started a miniature. Raging Heroes, really, Symbio Joe? I'm not a fan of Raging Heroes. They're just too pin-uppy for me. Oh, you're not happy. The resin cast is way past my painting skills, and I have more stuff I should have cleaned. Oh, so like the resin cast is like high detailed? You should just, if it's high detailed, man, just friggin' airbrush that thing and hit it with a wash, and it'll paint itself. Head back in mid mode. Jeez, oh. Warren, I'd love to see you thinking about Carnifexes and Gene Stealers if you want to work those out in like sketches. I'd love to see that stuff. I see you've already done that one Gene Stealer sketch, which I really liked, like your profile. So yeah, let's see your Carnifex stuff. So David is paint metallic first, then photograph or paint over it. Oh, well, David, I wouldn't call that cheating for doing non-metal metallics. I would say that's a smart way to do non-metal metallics, to paint a metallic, see where the light hits it, come back and paint it in. That's really smart. Thanks, Crimson Badger. Charles, yeah, airbrushes are fun, especially if you're batch painting nids. My airbrush saved me when I was doing my Gene Stealer Cult Army, because I would have lost my mind otherwise. Okay, so now I'm going to go and I'm going to clean up the kind of mess that I made on the top of the armor plates. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to... Before they were kind of like flat across the top, but now what I'm going to do, I don't know if you can see this one, I'm adjusting the angle so it's thinner at this point, thicker at this point, so it looks like they're recessing in under the previous. The spoon tool is pretty good for that. You could also go in, actually, it might be better if I do it with this because that'll flatten it out. Although I did put a curve in a previous step in these plates, so let's try with the silicone brush and see what happens. Problem with the silicone brush is it puts weird lines on them, although those weird lines are kind of the lines you'd expect to see in a Tyranid armor plate. So maybe this is going to be, what does Bob Ross call it? A little happy mistake here. These little pine trees I'm painting here up in this Alaskan highland. Oh, that needs to go under there. Oh, maybe this is good. Yeah, it's putting in those striation lines that you'd expect. They're not perfect, and I'll clean them up later, but they're helpful. I always get that word wrong. Striation, is that what it's called? The lines on like a carapace plate? Who knows? The only thing with this is that tucking it in under the previous plate is not great with this. I'd rather do it with the spoon tool, but let's be honest, I'd rather do everything with the spoon tool because it's my fave. I still need to bring the peaks up. You can see the peaks are kind of like mashed down, so I got to go in there with a knife tool and kind of like pump those up. I also need to cut these back in, but I'll do that in a second. Try cleaning them up first. Now these gaps between plates are really big on this side because I had to mess around with them quite a bit. Spoon tool might be my friend on these, but let's try with the silicone shaper and see what happens. This silicone shaper is slightly firm. The one I normally use is the soft one, which is a wonderful wonder from Germany. You can see, I guess you can kind of see the difference, see how that wiggles, and then this one wiggles similarly, but it's actually a little stiffer. And then the next level up from that is the angry black colored silicone shapers that are very stiff. Like that's pretty much like plastic. So this stiff one's pretty good. And the stiffness of silicone shapers is just like the sharper you want your lines to be, I'd say the stiffer you want your silicone shaper to be. If you're looking for organic lines, go for the softer ones. I guess it also depends on your putty. Whether you have a stiffer or a soft one. But it's like having brushes in different sizes and having these in different sizes. You can also have shapers in different hardnesses. Likely, if you're buying cheap silicone shapers on eBay, you're going to get soft ones. So please don't let that put you off silicone shapers, because that is not... Like, I wanted to experiment with buying some cheapo silicone shapers off eBay because they came with ball burnishers on one end and silicone shapers on the other end. I was just thinking, that's the perfect sculpting tool. That's the sculpting tool that everyone needs. I'm going to take a look at these and see if I can recommend them to people. And this is me not recommending them to you because The silicone is just so soft. Like, I don't even have them with me right now to show you because it's just kind of useless. Oh, that's not good. See here, we've got like a subtle curve in. It's mostly like straight, but it kind of curves. We're doing like a weird kind of waved whale tail or something here that is not working for me. Oh, that's pissed me off. I'm not sure how I can fix that. Again, organic stuff. Maybe it's not going to be symmetrical on both sides. Maybe that's fine. Let's try and see if I can fix this with the spoon tool. So I'm just trying to flatten out the bit near the tip, but maybe if I pop the tips up, it'll be okay. Again, you shouldn't obsess over this stuff because there's so much more to do on these plates to get their shape right that a subsequent step may address the concerns you have at this point. But I don't know. This is me obsessing. I think I'm getting to the point where I'm screwing up what I did before, so I'm going to stop. So let's pop up the points of them. So I'm going to use my knife tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and just kind of bring that up a bit. So I'm digging in under and lifting. Oh God, what do I do? Stop my stream and start it again. That's not good. Didn't think about that. The gander. So just trying to bring the points of the armor plates up so that they're not flat along the top of the gun. So you can see it's a little better now, but then I have the issue where just as down here I made them like thinner at this end and thicker at this end, so there's an angle. I got to do that here too because they're popping up a bit, but I got to like angle them down. The challenges of sculpting Tyranid armor plates. The key thing that I've seen some people do that you don't want to get is that these breaks between the armor plates, you don't ever want them to be at 90 degrees. You don't want them to just be like cut, 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 cut. You want them to be like at, I don't know what the heck that is, something pretty flat. So it looks like this armor plate is tucking into that one. So you can initially cut them like this so that it's straight across, but then you got to take the blade and you got to kind of like dig underneath to give like some, like, yeah, the illusion that one plate is tucking in under the previous plate. One of the next things I'm going to do is going to give that illusion even more. But you don't ever want just like straight cuts where like this is the same height as this and there's just a break between them, because that's not how Tyranid armor plates work. It should look like one is growing out from under the previous one. Okay, so I'm kind of doing that here too, where I'm tucking them in under the other. But then of course it makes it bulge here, so I got to go and clean that up after, which is annoying. But this is the life of an armor plate sculptor. This one is a mess. I'll probably just put more putty on top of that and fix it. So let's try this tool, and let's try to get that angle going on. It's going to flatten them on top, but I think I can adjust. This last one looks ugly, but whatever. But you can see that you're getting that shape where it looks like it's feeding in under the previous and then it's sloping up. That one's a very egregious example. I'll probably have to clean on either side because it'll wind up with like a flat point on top of each plate. So just get that in under there. better. Warren, I'm glad you're here to field people's questions, because I feel like I'm not doing great at fielding people's questions right now. Focusing on sculpting the nerve of this guy. Let's see from this side. Well, they look pretty good from this side. Just got to clean them up a bit. Yeah, so the key is that one plate tucks in under the other plate. They're not just like, it's not just like a straight line. So you can start with the straight line, but then you got to fix it up to make it look more 3D. Okay. So, was anyone watching the previews that just went up on Warhammer Community? They were like, this is going to be a preview for every game system we make, pretty much. Did anyone catch them? Because I have learned from previous streams that I don't watch them live because I get excited and then I get disappointed. So this one I also did not watch live. I checked the blog post afterwards so that I didn't get overhyped, only to get disappointed, and I was glad that I did not watch it live because I feel like there was some cool stuff there, but I'm a 40k guy and I can appreciate other stuff. Like I love Necromunda because it gives you cool models to convert. Same thing with Warcry, cool models to convert, but I feel like there wasn't a lot there. I mean, that one Necron guy they showed was cool, but like we'd kind of already seen him in the background of another picture. It's good to know like what he was about. I appreciated that. And I did appreciate that there were no Space Marines. Wow. No Space Marines in a preview, can you believe it? That was an accomplishment. But otherwise it wasn't super exciting for me. That, like, the Warcry one, we'd already seen both those gangs, or bands, or whatever they're called, but it's just like, now they're going to be in a box set. It's like, okay, good times. And they, I guess they showed us a couple more of those Dark Elf miniatures, because they weren't, or Mothrai, whatever, her dudes, because they weren't all shown before, and that was cool. But, yeah, otherwise it wasn't that exciting. That thing that's like supposed to be like Warhammer Quest, but it's not. It's actually just Warcry. Also, oh wait, is that Warcry or is that Warhammer Underworlds? See, I can't even keep it straight. Like, honestly, I think that Warhammer Underworlds and Warcry just need to be amalgamated because I feel like they're playing in similar ballparks. It's like, yeah, this is a small-scale skirmish game set in a fantasy setting. It's like, okay, what's this one? Oh, this is also a small-scale skirmish game set in a fantasy setting. Okay, well, what's the difference? Well, that one's super competitive, whereas the Warcry one, it's not super competitive, but everyone agrees that the Warcry rules are like the best rules they've ever made. This is what I hear. So I feel like I love Warhammer Underworlds because the teams are just so there's so much character in those teams. The Warcry ones are pretty good too, but I feel like Shadespire, Warhammer Underworlds, they win for like most characterful teams, but really I feel like it should just be folded into Warcry because they feel like they're kind of, again, I don't know anything, I'm not a fantasy person, but on the surface they look like the same thing. I know Warcry is supposed to be like chaos based, Varanspire, I almost said Abaddon, Archaon, but yeah, I don't know. Isn't there any way that they could become one? But that's just me. But whatever, like, it's an excuse to make more cool models. And Underworlds is fun because it's very interesting. It's a really cool way to introduce new models for old factions with a lot of character and narrative elements to them, which is super cool. Okay, so that's kind of cleaned up. I could go in and obsess at this point, like cleaning up these gaps, repointing them, but I think I should just do the next stage, which is cutting in the backs of the plates to further give the impression. So to further give the impression that one plate is tucking into the other plate, this is good, but what I like to do is I go here and I cut in, cut this out like that. This is another thing that I can screw up, so I'm going to try not to. But yeah, same way that you tried to match this angle all the way down, you want to match this angle all the way down, like that angle. So here, and then here. And you're just cutting like the corners out so that it looks more like one armor plate is growing out from under the previous. Get out of here, green stuff. Okay. So that's that. I should just cut them all and then come back and clean them. Okay, there, 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 there. The putty feels kind of thin here, which is not great. There, and like deciding how you cut these can give a very different look. For example, like you can take, here's the line of the plate, that's where there's an angle out. You could cut from there in, and you get a very different look than if you cut from here. So the plate becomes like one side, two side, whereas here it's kind of like 1, 2, and then 3, which, I don't know. Maybe I should be doing what I'm saying you should do. And just have one straight angle from there to there. Again, you think I'm good at sculpting. I just mess around. Let's try that. And hope I don't hate it. I think that's the safer solution. That we cut from the end of this plate straight back in. Okay, get out of here. So from here in. Yeah, this is probably a better look. I think that having it like another angle here and another angle there makes it look a little more armored, like heavy armored. Can't really explain why, but that's the feeling I get. Okay, get that out of there. I said I was going to clean that up after. Okay, there. And this one, that one's a mess. Let's not look at that one. We'll deal with that later. Get out of here. So we'll do the same over here. Oh, the first one is going to be wacky because it's the end of the barrel, so that's fine. There, and then these little bits. Stay. Oh, well, that looks a little wonky already. Okay, let's not talk about it. Get out of there. Bye. Fuck. Don't stick so well. Fuck off. More Nivea. Lube her up. When I'm done, this is where I'll check comments. 1 second. Does anyone have any questions about what I'm doing here so that I can answer them? Post haste. Okay, you go there. Answer them forthwith. I think that's what I should say. Answer them forthwith. Okay, angles on these plates are looking a little wonky. I'm not going to stress right now. I'm going to hope for the best. Get you out of here. That final plate is wonk, so I'll leave it. So, like I said before, not symmetrical. Shit. I guess I can fix that. I don't like how this is sticking to my tool. It's just looking like the plates are too long on one side versus the other side. So I'm trying to fix the one side, which of course will result in them being too short, and then I will want to shove my foot in my face because I need to fix them again. It's probably okay. Oh, what happened here? Oh, crap. Get out of here. Let's see. Well, this one's a little ugly, but I want to fix that one anyway, so. Okay, clean up. Okay, let's clean up this side. I could carve this away, but it's a mess, so I'm trying to just like tuck it in, but I don't know. For some reason it's easier to carve it away on this side. What a mess. I'm just gonna tuck you in. Just, you know, like when you're like sweeping the floor and then you find like that last little bit of dirt and you just sweep it under the rug? Let's do that here. Let's just sweep that last bit of green stuff in under the rug. Just want to clean up the edge. It's bulging a bit there, I'll have to clean that. Okay. That's how you fix your whale tails. Oh, that looks ugly. So we're like 80% there now on these. Mostly you just got to go in and add the like detail and the like weathering. This one's a mess and I just need to ignore it. The edges are not lining up, that's not great, but I could cut those with an X-Acto after. It's bulging up on the edges, so I'm kind of flattening them out as I go. Why is there a big lump of Nivea there? That's annoying. points are out of alignment. That's pissing me off. Maybe this is stuff I need to clean up afterwards with a knife when it's dry. Stop obsessing. Let's see what's going on here. Now, these ones stick out and these ones don't, and it kind of pisses me off. Just come in and plump up the ends. Will that solve it? Oh, it's bulging. I hate that. Ugly. Sorry, I'm not chatty. This is the finicky part. This is concentration. Not gonna lie, I'm not crazy about these. Damn it. Maybe when I come in with a knife, so you can see that they're bulging because I've been fussing with the edges. So I can come in with a knife and I can cut those off after. It'll be easier to do it that way than to try and fix them by sculpting now. I also hate this plate, but I'm gonna add more putty once they're all dried and fix that one. I hate this one, but I'll cut it, fix it. These ones are passable. Not crazy about them. But again, I guess you don't really look at them from the top. Look at them from the side is probably the most realistic way to check them. Just trying to smooth the tops here. Make myself love them more. Damn, I should come back with a knife. It's the better way to do this. So again, sculpting sharp angles, putty, not always easy. You can get it almost there, and then you can come back and use a sharp scalpel to get the sharp angle that you want. As opposed to obsessing with a sculpting tool and never getting there. Because putty's always going to be a bit bulgy. You can get sharp angles, it just takes some doing. And usually the way to do it is to let the putty set for longer and then come back and get your sharp angle. Okay. Tucking in the backs of these at the top, because I feel like they've kind of escaped. Oops. Go away. Why are you still making angry noises? Oh, we're back. Okay, well, I can leave this. That's interesting. Holy crap, it's 5 o'clock. When did that happen? I guess we started at 3:30. It's been an hour and a half. Oh, you could hear that? Sorry. All right, I'm going to look at some comments because this is pissing me off. Oh, wow, lots of comments. Holy cow. Gorgon Mork is here. Whoa, everybody's here. Thanks for having conversations in amongst yourself while I sculpt in the background because boring. Oh, my God. Oh, God. I'm never going to get through all these questions, all these comments. Oh, we're talking about silicone brushes. That's good. Yes, Warren, I'd love to see 2nd edition Screamer Killer updated to 3rd edition. Me or Tom, Bits of Box and I took a run at that, but I'd love to see it. Oh, yeah, where do you get the expensive color shapers? That's Interested G. You get the expensive color shapers at an art store. That's what I would recommend. Might be a real wide open shot. Yeah, that's fine. You guys figure that out. German discount grocers over here. And yeah, very soft. Might have to use future, but not. Yeah, I would say get your color shapers from an art store. That's where you get the good ones. They're not cheap. You're going to have to pay for them. Like, they're going to cost you as much as a brush. I think this one cost me like $15 or $20 Canadian. Not cheap. Similar to true, but think about that, especially after our case. Yeah, we got some sneak peeks coming up on the Warp Shadow Instagram from Roberto Cirillo, amazing Tyranid artist. You should go over to at Warp Shadow on Instagram to check them out. We're going to be showing the full sketches at the end of August. I think around August 26th is when I'm going to start dropping them. So they'll all be up by the beginning of September. It will be fun. Whoa, Warren's in Northern Ireland. I did not know that. With the way politics. Oh, we're talking politics, okay. Oh, cool. You guys are like talking Screamer Killers here. That's good. I like Screamer Killers. Yeah, Necromoon is pretty solid, Evan, in terms of the previews that they showed. That's good. Oh, God. There's so much here. Oh, Mork and Gork, I'm glad you're here, man. I'm glad you never made it to one of the... Well, I'm not glad you didn't make it to another live stream, but I'm glad you made it to this live stream. So far, I've been sculpting a gun on top of this Tyranid. Hopefully this is not jittery when the video goes out, but we'll see. God. So many messages. Oh, Butcher wants to know how much I spent on crappy China cast. I honestly can't remember, but it was very cheap. Oh God, and I owe you Nurgle sculpts. Yes, I will do some Nurgle sculpts soon. And I'm doing good. I'm actually on vacation right now, so this is a vacation stream. Yeah, Warren, I'm glad you've embraced modeling and sculpting over actually playing 40K. That's basically how I operate in this hobby, and it's a much better life. Oh, there we go. There's some focus. Okay. It's cool that you play with your kid, David, and that you do 40K together. I can't look at comments and not focus at the same time. Sorry. So I like to see new models, but people are raving about how they get new super special. Yeah, just ignore the rules, Warren. That's how this works. Here, I'll do this. This will make it easier. Mentioning that you don't use Citadel Paint in the story. Yeah, basically, Games Workshop employees are... Whoa, what the hell? Games Workshop employees are trying to be fun, but they were also told by their corporate overlords that they're supposed to use Games Workshop paint and not encourage any other paints. So you can't really hold it against them if you admit to using Vallejo and they're like, Vallejo, I don't know what that is. Let's not talk about it. Yeah, Warren, it's good that you don't get into the gaming fighting about all the politics and stuff because it's not really worth it. I mean, I'm in those fights, but I wouldn't recommend anyone else like just don't be a dick and don't be a racist, and you pretty much got all that you need to get from those fights because it's a lot of people being like, hey, I can be a racist if I want. Don't kick me out of my hobby. And it's like, no, bro, don't be a racist. No questions asked. There's some real nice smooth plates. Are you planning on adding little spines down the back of the plating? Peter, I'm assuming you're asking about the striations, like the lines on the plates. I got to do that now. I don't love it, but I'll do it. The modeling 40K boards are where you want me. Okay, this is not a very interesting video. I guess I should just read these and not comment on them because people don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Mork and Gork, if you're sculpting orc and goblin faces, the most important thing that I would say is that you want to think about it like a skull with flesh on it and muscle on it. Don't try and sculpt a face all at once. Get like a ball that you want to use for the head, and then rough in and let that set, and then rough in like the kind of like cheekbones and like nose bones and stuff under, like over top of that ball, so you get a rough idea where the eye sockets and stuff are going to be. Let that set, let it dry, and then go in and like kind of add subsequent layers to the face. Don't do it all at once because it'll be really tough. So that's what I would recommend if you're sculpting faces. Floating our rolls, 40K, yeah, whatever. Mic check. Oh, there we go. Is everyone silent? Did the chat die? Tau do seem to have some kind of advantage. Man, there's so many comments. Hi, Bits Mechanica. Welcome. Only pick them up as break from painting walls. Instagram is this. Yeah, I agree, Warren, that Instagram is just nice pictures and models all the time. We do have conversations on there about politics, but you can just post models as well. Onus Industries is doing good stuff. I don't know about Onus Industries. Oh, did you guys hear that ad? I mean, my alarm go off? I guess you did. Looks like it. God, there's so much stuff. Oh, Scale 75. I've actually bought some Scale 75 paints, but I haven't actually experimented with them yet, so I'm excited to do that. Okay, I'm officially caught up on messages for the last 30 minutes. Thank you all for sticking with me as I boringly read through comments. Yeah, these are pretty flat. I just need to stop obsessing over them and just accept that this is what the plates are going to be, and I'll add the little, the like ridges and stuff. You can start off with something like a silicone shaper, and you can kind of get some ridges in there. It's a good place to start. And then go in with the knife tool after and put in the actual cracks. You can also go in with a ball burnisher tool to get the like the divots kind of that appear more on the Forge World Tyranids than on the key thing with this is that you want to keep them pretty much straight, and I don't think I'm doing a great job of that. You don't want them to like wander around like river valleys, because that does not look like a Tyranid armor plate. But this is just giving them some like 3D effect. Oh, this one's ugly. I don't want to do that one. Yeah, just giving them some like texture so that they look bony and grown. Don't want to go all out. Warren, you remember Ed Forte back in the day, Trollforge games? He was the guy who introduced me to epoxy sculpt, but whenever he sculpted a Tyranid armor plate, it was very ridgy, like so many ridges, like to the point where you wouldn't really have to worry about highlighting it or painting it traditionally. You could just literally dry brush all the ridges on it, put some wash on it, and it's done. So that, I think that's too ridgy. The way I think of Tyranid armor plates, the more ridges you put on a Tyranid armor plate, the older that Tyranid is. So if you've got like a really fresh Tyranid, pretty smooth plates. If you've got a Tyranid that's very old or grizzled or like thicker armor, then it should have more ridges on it, but to a point. You don't want to over-ridge it. This guy's pretty old and grizzled, and he's got some pretty thick armor, so he can use some ridging on his plates. So just getting these ridges in. I'll get my knife tool in and cut some lines. Are my people home? No, we're almost done. Okay. And then get your knife tool, lube it up with some Nivea, and then you can, following the same kind of lines that you did with your ridges, you can cut some deeper gouges in. Don't put them all at the edge. Start some like in under the other plate and bring them down, and then put a couple little like nicks along the edge. They can go up higher. You could do some more up here. Don't do too many, but just kind of like mix it up. Again, unless you want to like paint in that style where you just dry brush them, then you can sculpt in all the detail you want, all the ridges you want at this stage, and then it's really easy to paint if you're painting in that style. But typically I just do a couple so that they could catch some wash when the person's painting. But yeah, I don't want to go all out, because then you can still paint on the ridges. I think I'm going to fix this one, so I don't know why I'm spending so much time on that one. I think I'm similar going to fix this one, but I'll put some in just in case I want them later. I shouldn't be doing them so. I'm kind of doing them the same way on all of them, which is not great. Okay, let's do a couple more on this edge. Put one here. Maybe another one there. That probably wasn't a great idea. Do one in the middle, and there. You got to watch the angle of them. That one was badly placed because it wasn't really following the growth lines of the. Oh, that one's hideous. Let's rub these out. Let's get our eraser. Fix this one because I made a mess of it. Oh, this is the part where I ruin everything. You ready? And then if they're too rigid, you can always go over them with a silicone shaper to kind of flatten the plate again if you feel like they've bulged too much. If you try to add these too early in the curing process of the green stuff, putty, whatever, they'll bubble a bit more. But if you wait like now till the end of the curing process, you're more likely to get a clean line. Okay, where did I screw up on this one? Oh God, why do I feel like this one is my bane? That's fine. Don't obsess. Yeah. And the key is just putting in a couple of extra ones so that it doesn't look like they're all symmetrical. Little cracks. And then you get your Hydra Sculpting tool. You get your ball brusher tool. Oh, I think I didn't bring a small one. You could even get, where is that? A pokey tool, like a pen tool. Who's saying what? Whoa, there's a lot going on. Okay, yeah. Thin way more than Vallejo. Okay, go even thinner with a little flow improver, and they make good washes as well. Okay, so that's good to know about scale 75 paints. I should go thin. I didn't get a set, David. I just bought some teal paints. Yeah, the beauty of organic stuff is that imperfections are helpful, but you don't want like too much. You still got to stay within the Tyranid aesthetic. You can't be like all imperfection all the time, or else you chaos spawn. Yeah, Warren, I agree with you about the end plates. Let's not talk about it. I meant little knobbly protrusions you get on the middle of each plate, like on some bioweapons in the pelvis. I'm not adding knobbly bits on these plates. I don't tend to do that when I do Tyranid plates. I can't really picture what you're talking about there, Peter. Brain-looking gray bits behind the armor panels. Oh, you're talking about these in here? Well spotted, Morgan Gork. So, this is one giant cannon, right? So we got some like gills there, but then I put some like Tyranid, some Tyranid biomorph bits in behind to kind of act like organ structures that are like sitting between the body of the beast and the gun. So that's supposed to be like the organ structures of the gun. or feeder structures or something like that. So I need to do something similar on this side. I haven't done it yet, but well spotted. Okay, I don't have a small ball burnisher. This one's probably too big, but what you want to do is like on Forge World, they have these like dents in Tyranid plates, like little ball. They look like dings or something. That looks very large. Let's see. Of course, I didn't bring my small ball burnisher, but oh well. Let's see if we can do it with this. So you can just put, oh, it's bulging. It's not a good look. This is just texture to like make the Tyranid plates look more alive, maybe more weathered. I'm not loving the look of this. Let's see if the Hydra sculpting tool can save me. Or is it too big too? It's pretty big. You can also do them like this, like angled. That might actually look better. Again, another thing that I remembered that I was supposed to sculpt on NIDs but didn't before, to kind of put them in on an angle like this. It looks like a bullet impact maybe. I shouldn't go crazy with these. And then if they get bulgy, you go through with your silicone shaper and you just flatten them out again to get them plate style. And the beauty of using a flat silicone shaper like this is that it might add more ridges to your plates. And it's not going to leave like weird marks that don't look like they should be there. Let's flatten that out. Flatten that out. So I think I'm going to call this one because if I go any further, I'm just going to obsess. I think this is pretty good for some armor plates on top of a gun. Pretty happy with them. I could clean up the edges a bit with a knife after. It might obliterate some of these like scratches, but I think it'll still be okay. Yeah, so there we go. Got some armor plates. Where's the camera? The angles of them are pretty good. On the side, that last one is an ugly mess, but I said I was going to fix it later. Yeah, that's okay. This one is also an ugly mess, but I'm going to fix that later. We've got some weird stuff happening here that maybe I should try to clean up. Oh, I can probably clean that with a knife after, actually. So what I'm going to do is I got a phone call that I should probably have answered, so I'm going to try and call back. And I think I can like pause the stream and then come back into it as evidence when my alarm went off and you guys all heard Jumanji and a car backing up in my studio. So I'm going to try that now and try to come back because I still have some putty. I think I still have some time. So maybe I'll... Ooh, that's ugly. Let's get that out of there. Maybe I'll take some of that putty and try and like do these bits, or maybe I'll do some stuff with the barrels. I don't think I'm going to do the armor plates here because honestly, this has taken a lot out of me. And you just watched some armor plates, and that's boring now because you've already seen it. So I'm going to go try and make a call and then try to come back and try and restart the stream. Oh, I had extra putty. Where did it go? It's probably stuck to my forehead. Yeah, so if you want to hang around, if you're still hanging around on the stream, UK folks, if you want to go to bed, please go to bed. Oh, it's a Saturday. You can stay up all night and party. I just know that my people are going to come home soon, and then when my people come home, I'm going to need to end this very quickly. So I'm not sure if I should end it prematurely or just keep going until people come home and then kill it then. But I'm going to go call people and see if there's something important I need to know on that call that I missed. And then I will come back and maybe do a bit more sculpting. And if you want to hang around, you can watch me shove my finger in this, which I'm very happy with, and completely screw it up while trying to sculpt something else. Won't that be exciting? But yeah, that's been Armor Plates on Tyranid Gun. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'll be right back. I hope. Yikes. Oh, stop streaming. Okay, well, no, I don't want to stop streaming. What if I do that? Wait, let's check some messages before I disappear. Trollforge still there. It's another thing I need to catch up on. Warren, I don't think Trollforge is still a thing. I don't think Ed's doing it anymore, but I haven't really checked in recently. I like the extra ridges, make some unique designs. Nobody protrusion. Okay, thanks. Look at that right at work. God, it's been 2 hours. Yeah, maybe I should just call this. Nice. That's yeah. Look at the hand modeler for an idea of what it means. Sorry. Hello, fellow Tyranid addicts. Gerald Gerardo. Is that who is that? Gerald, are you Gerald? Who are you, Gerald? You look familiar. Have the schedule for the next one. Okay, Mork and Gork schedule for the next live stream. I usually do the live stream on Wednesday nights at 8, as Hutch has already said. However, I know that's very late for you, anyone who's in the UK, which is not great. So I will try to do them on weekends as well every so often. I just know that Wednesday nights is when I can like be like, hey, partner of mine, I'm going to be antisocial on Wednesday nights. Let's plan ahead that I'm going to be antisocial. That's cool, right? And that partner of mine is like, cool deal. But if I'm like, hey, partner of mine, I want to be antisocial in the middle of the day on a Saturday, they might be like, not sure about that so much. So what I can do is that I do like to try and do hobby stuff on the weekend. So why don't I just promise that if I do hobby stuff on the weekend, I'll stream it. And then hopefully all you fun European and maybe further abroad folks will be able to join up because it's not crazy late. But I do understand the crazy late. Like my buddies over on Between the Bolter and Me, they do their streams at they used to start at like 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. And I'm like, guys, we're all in North America and that's late for me. But maybe I'm just an old man. So yeah, we'll do, I'll try to do more streams on weekends because it's good having the full crew here. Awesome, Warren, that you joined as well. So we'll try. And David, I just want you to be able to get sleep and spend time with your kids. Please don't stay up at 3 a.m. like you do on Wednesday. Well, no, I appreciate you coming out to those streams, but every time you do, I feel bad that you're having to stay up so late because I know you're in the UK. Yeah, so we'll try doing some more on some more streams on weekends as well, so that more people can be involved, because I definitely would like to involve more people. But hopefully the Wednesday night ones still work for you folks, because they show up as videos after the fact, and you can tune in for those. I know it's not as much fun as being live, but at least we got that. And at some point, I'm going to figure out OBS, and this is all going to jump like light speed into the future, and you're going to be amazed at how good the camera is and all that junk. But I think what I'll do is I'll call this now, so that, because it's almost 2 hours. I feel like that's a lot of time to watch someone sculpt. And I'm aware that a lot of this has been boring, me sculpting and not talking. So yeah, I'm very glad that y'all joined. Thank you for joining. And I'll see you again soon. And for once, I'll end a stream on my own terms instead of just having my phone crash. So thank you so much. Y'all been great. Good to have y'all here. Go out there, make some awesome models. Hopefully this has inspired you to sculpt some stuff. And just give some thought to like any questions you might have about sculpting or Tyranids or Xenos or whatever. Bring them with you to the next stream, and I'm more than happy to answer them here. And apparently, if I can't answer them, we got Warren to answer them, which is just as good. So yeah, I'll look forward to the next time and answering your questions then. Bye. Everyone stay safe and take care. Well said, Symbio Joe. I agree. Good night, Warren. Good night. Good night, Mork and Gork. Oh man, you guys have that TV show where they say everyone's name? I should do that. Good night, Mork and Gork. Good night, Warren. Good night, Symbio Joe, David. Good night, Hutch and Blitz Mechanica. Good night. Who else we got in here? There's like Ilio something. Gerald Gerardo. Sorry, he just showed up, but good night. We're cutting it out. Peter Hampson, good night. I'm going to miss someone. Charles, thanks for joining. Good night. Okay, this is getting old. I should just call it. All right. And to everyone else who I didn't name, good night to you. Thanks for joining. I'll catch you next time.